So we're pretty far along in the change effort, and you find that there are some people that are still struggling accepting what's going on. So I'm going to give you a tool to help you coach people into embracing the change. It's called the energy allocation exercise, and you're going to find the instructions and the templates to use on the Ning platform. The first part of the exercise, you ask people to do 2 columns. One column is no control. The second column is in my control. And then you look at the situation and you really determine what's not in my control and what's in my control about the situation. Let me give you an example. So the other day I was at the airport, and about a half hour before we're supposed to leave, the sign comes up and says that the plane is not going to leave. It's delayed for a couple hours, which meant that I was going to miss my connection and I had to stay there for another night. So of course I went up to talk to them at the desk because I wanted to change this, but I found about 6 people in front of me, and they're all yelling and screaming at the man who's frantically trying to find them connections. Well, I sat there and I looked at this and I said, so truly, what's not in my control? Well, for one thing, the airplane being delayed, I have no control over that. It doesn't matter who I yell and scream at, I have no control. That I may have to spend the night, I probably don't have control over that. Maybe the guy can look for something, but, if I have to, is it all that bad? So there are a number of things in that situation I don't have control of. But when I look at what do I have control of, the number one thing is myself. I can either be upset about it, or I can say, okay, I can accept this. Maybe there's something good here. I can go sit in a hotel and get some writing done. I don't know, but until I look at what's within my control, I'm not going to see what's possible. So you see, if you sit down and you can coach one-on-one, or you can coach a whole group of people, you first ask them, let's say that they're really struggling with an assignment. Well, what is it that's not in your control in this situation? Number one, they have to make the change. Okay, we accept that the decision was made, and there's really not much they can do about it. Okay, so there may be some other things. Maybe it's, some of the people they have to work with. They can't change people's personalities. But what is in their control? That's really the strength and the power of this exercise. When you start asking people what's truly in your control in this situation, and starting always with my attitude and the way I respond, because that is sometimes the only thing I have control of. But maybe there are some other things that I can do, some other place that I can put my energy. Maybe there is something that I can enjoy doing. Because you want people to shift into putting their energy into what they can control. Maybe they'll have a hard time letting go of what they can't. But the more you can shift them into what I can control, what's possible, the less that they have energy left for what they can't control. So let me show you on the grid, the energy allocation grid. If you have people look at what they can't control, but you ask them, how much energy are you putting into that? And energy includes complaining, worrying, any amount of time that you spend thinking about something that's not in your control, then you have to put it up here in the dead horses. You see, it's a high amount of energy with a low amount of control. I couldn't change that airplane from being delayed. I couldn't do that. And all the time and energy I spent complaining about it, I was kicking a dead horse. The best that I can do with things that I can control is to release them, to drop them down here. Don't spend energy in what you can control. You want the energy to be low for the things that you can't control. And then that becomes a free bird. We release it out of our lives. There's a distinction here I want to be clear about, that sometimes we give up. We get so tired complaining about things that we can't control that we just give up. But you aren't really releasing them when you give up. Because the thing is that when you get your energy back up again, you're back up here banging your head against the wall about things you can't control. The truth is we really have to work to release, to let go. So when you're coaching people is to ask them, what's it going to take to truly let go of what you can't control? But again, one of the best ways of helping people to do that is to move them over here, to have them look at that list of what's in their control, what can they do, what could they do to maybe even influence a change. Maybe they can't change someone's personality, but maybe they can model the behavior they want, or they, can work with the person to find out a better way that they could build a relationship together. But you want to look and ask people, how much time and energy are you spending in your control list? If they are spending time, that's what we call mastery. But if they're not spending time, if they're like spending all their time over here and they're not spending time on what they can control, then this is what we call a sitting duck. And sadly, this is what creates victims. People who spend all their time on what they can't control and spend very little time on what they can become a victim. You want to help people to see how much energy is being wasted instead of moving into possibility where they can truly create mastery, where they can see really their greatest potential is when they put their energy over here. So when you can get them to start filling in the list of what they can control, and then help them to set goals and intentions and steps and support them to spending more energy up here, then truly what will happen is you will see them much more quickly embracing the change.